Well, welcome everybody to Table Full of Knives, or if this edition we could call it a building full of rubble.
Yeah, be accurate.
We have Mr. Josh Morgan here with us from Primitive Woodsman, and we are in the Primitive Woodsman spot that's more primitive than ever.
Right. We have a nice skylight now.
Yeah. If you guys look in the background here, you'll see the nice landslide that took out Josh's shop, and this place is pretty much empty now, man.
Yeah, I mean, had to move quick to get everything out into safety and salvage what we could. And, it's been a whirlwind of a few weeks now, I guess. We're 3 weeks post-storm.
Is it 3 weeks now?
I know. It's kind of just flown by.
Gosh. Driving up here today, it's still like just wreckage everywhere.
It's piles.
I mean, how long is it going to take to clean this mess up here? Years?
Oh, easily years. You'll be able to tell. There'll be remnants of what the storm left over for many years, even after we've recovered, and things feel back to normal. There'll still be little reminders, parts of the mountain that used to be there that aren't anymore, there. Or, I know there's like whole sections of mountain just kind of fell off. Yeah. It's bizarre. From the peak all the way down, just big old strips where there's not a tree left. It's just a big streak of mud. It's pretty wild. I mean, I personally have never witnessed anything like it. I grew up at the coast, and we had plenty of hurricanes and lots of flooding and trees down, but never anything quite so violent. When it floods around here, everything's, steep, and that water gets some momentum, and there's no stopping it. So,
And I just wanted to mention right off the gate, guys, thank you so much for all you guys that's supported on Gofundme for Josh. I started a Gofundme right after this happened, and you guys have been super generous.
Oh yeah. I want to extend my thank you and gratitude as well, because we wouldn't be able to keep pushing forward on this if it wasn't for the support from all of you guys. That's let us replace equipment, keep people paid and bills paid. And, while there's no money coming in, we're finally back to making some knives in the shop, or, what's left of the shop. But it would have been nearly impossible to be at the point we are now without all of you guys helping. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you guys. Coming up here is just to me, it's just sad. I know that you guys didn't lose lives or anything like that, but just seeing like you guys you just got your water jet put in. Yeah. You guys were rolling. Yeah. You were set up to roll. I mean, for your water jet was what, here 2 weeks?
We had it running. We have 50 hours of run time on that water jet.
And that's counting what you run after.
After the storm.
There's a hole in the wall back here.
Yeah. Somehow we still had power, or we got power back to the shop really quickly, and it was untouched enough to just keep it running until it wasn't safe to keep it here anymore. And luckily, we got it to safety. Took some doing,
and I think one thing that a lot of people don't realize is insurance policies up here. This is not a flood area. No. Like nobody up here deals with floods.
Nobody has flood,
and so nobody has flood insurance. And even like your policy that's supposed to cover the building you're in, the equipment that's here. Yeah. There's a little tiny line in there that they like to put that says
no earth movement does not cover earth movement or flooding.
That's stupid. That's so stupid.
And it's the same.
I mean, you just think because you're paying an insurance policy that it's good. You're good now. You got insurance.
You would think. Yeah. And nobody out here expects anything like this, because like I said, I mean, growing up at the coast, you're used to hurricanes coming through and whatever. Maybe you have some extra flood insurance or something, but storms never make it this far into the mountains. The mountains kind of protect us most of the time, break it up. We might get a bunch of rain, but not the combination of so much rain with so much wind in such a short amount of time. Yep. And nobody up here was expecting it. It caught everybody kind of off guard, myself included. I was in the shop till midnight the night before, grinding away, and didn't think a whole lot of it other than, wow, it's pretty wet out.
And things like this, that happens to Josh, it affects more than just Josh. He's got a wife and 9 kids.
9?
But 3 kids.
3, yeah. Feels like 9 sometimes.
Yeah, I know more of that feeling now more than ever. But, you've got people that work for you. Yeah. That, if Josh if it wasn't for like people supporting and Josh being able to make something, they wouldn't get paid.
Sure.
And that affects them. And it's this domino effect that happens when something like this happens. It's not just Josh who's affected. It's everybody else too, including retailers. Yeah. You know, if you can't get knives, you can't make money. Yeah. And, you know, it affects it. It's a domino effect all the way down.
Certainly. Yeah. Well, and in this case too, it's not like this is a singular event that happened to me in my shop. This is happening everywhere across this county, as well as most of Western North Carolina, Eastern Tennessee. And so the entirety of the economy is slowed down and jacked up, and supply chain is weird, and roads are gone, and
roads are gone.
Just gone. Yeah. Just
yeah. And over this podcast, I'll overlay some B-roll from here at the shop, so you guys can get a little bit better looking at seeing the magnitude of this. There's a lot of dirt right here behind us. That's inside the shop.
Oh, it's like a semi truck and a half just ran into the back of the shop.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing, actually, that the shop's still standing.
There's still some of it standing.
I'm not 100% sure this is actually safe.
Well,
you know what?
It's fine.
We're fine.
It's all fine.
But so we've got something coming up, I think, that's going to be really cool. So I talked to Josh last week. What's like a special cool knife that we could do that would, you know, keep Josh moving? He'll be able to make them and get them out. And I think you come up with something really cool.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you kind of walk us through it?
Sure. Yeah, I'll tell you about it. So, I mean, lately, just to start off with, the Foxfire knife that we came out with this year has been great. We've been selling all kinds of them all over the world. It's been a really great knife. It's also a knife that isn't as complicated as some of the others. It's not complicated like a Hellbender or some of the axes. And so in the state that we're in our shop, where it's not ideal, we're short on space, we're short on power.
Short on timers.
You know, it's something that we can still actually produce. So to do another special edition, you know, we've done a couple runs of special editions with Ridge Runner in the past. We decided to come up with a new special edition that we're calling the Landslide Edition. We're using a tan rubber on a Foxfire. This pile of rubber was actually right there behind us. We pulled it out. It got engulfed in mud on that shelf back there. We pulled it out, managed to salvage it, and put together this just kind of, you know, nice little package, tan rubber, stonewash finish, nice little shrink wrapped lanyard with some bump cord on there. And it's just, you know, something that commemorates, maybe commemorate isn't the right word, but, you know, it's something that takes advantage of the situation and lets us keep moving forward instead of, you know, being a victim of the situation. Yep. We're finding a way to make the best of the situation, and this was one of the ways that we could do it. So they'll all come with a special engraving that says Landslide. It's got a little warning symbol for, you know, what a landslide. Yep. And it just kind of, you know, is something special and unique that is related to this and shows that we can still overcome this and keep pushing forward and keep making knives, because that's what we do. And as much as this has slowed us down, it's not going to slow us down.
Right.
And so now you guys can this is a great way you can get an awesome knife, but also help support us and keep us moving forward. Keep money coming in so that we can either, you know, we're still trying to figure out, how do we fix this place? Do we find a new space? There's not a lot of spaces out there. You know, there's still a lot of variables that, you know, we don't have at play right now to answer all of those questions. But keeping the ball rolling, keeping the gears turning, keeping knives going out the door is what's going to allow us to overcome or take those opportunities when they become available. So we put that together for an exclusive with Ridge Runner that'll be on pre-sale at some point in time.
It'll be this week.
Yeah.
So, so Wrangler Star, a lot of you guys probably know who he is. He grabbed a hold of this knife earlier this year, and it quickly become very popular.
Yeah, I'd say.
Bizarre, which is not bizarre because it's one of my favorite knives of all time.
Yeah.
I said this was going to be the knife of 2024, if you remember.
I do.
I didn't realize how much that was going to be the case. It is the knife, and I love the little touch marks and stuff that you did on this one. He did a little different Primitive Woodsman logo right here on the side instead of across the top, and there'll be B-roll over when I'm talking here, but. It's a really cool touch. This one here is actually going to be going to Mr. Wrangler Star himself. tomorrow.
Yeah.
Emailing it out to him. He's going to be super stoked with that. The tan rubber is probably one of my favorites.
It's awesome. That was the biggest eye catcher at Blade Show this year. Everybody wanted to touch it, but pick it up. What is that? What is it? Yeah. No, it feels good in your hand.
It's kind of funny. You can spot the rednecks a mile away. There's that horse mat.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But it's not horse mat. It's actually a really industrial grade rubber. I guess. But it holds up really, really well. I mean, I've got a couple of your rubber handled knives and beat the snot out of them. And I think it really is a nice touch as far as durability and stuff. It doesn't break up like, it's not going to shatter like any super hard material.
Right. Yeah. It has some, it's got a little squish to it. It's pretty robust. And the rubber is just something cool. It's a little bit different than what a lot of other folks are doing. It's something a little bit unique that we've been able to source and to put on some knives, and it's been great. We do more rubber handles now than probably anything else.
So you guys get some muddy rubber
some muddy rubber
from the landslide. There's actually a grinder like poking its head out underneath that. It's very I would not want to dig that out.
You don't want to get back in there. We already risked it enough to get out what we did in the landslide. Breaking up block and digging through mud and pulling out what was, safe to get, and made the best of it. But there's still definitely plenty of stuff. You might even be able to see, I don't know, I'm probably in the way. The sandblasting cabinets just pinned in there against the wall with chest high mud.
That whole room is blocked. Like it pushed this wall into that room.
Yeah.
And so that was all your Kydex stuff. That was all your
presses, oven, a lot of leatherworking stuff. I'm a big cutting table. Tons of clips and stuff, Alti clips and tech locks and hardware, and it's still it's 3 weeks afterwards. We were like, oh, we figured out everything that we lost, but then we're like, oh, we need to go do this. Can you go grab that thing? Shoot, it's in that room. I don't know where in that room, but it's somewhere in that room.
Well, you're definitely not going to get it out.
No,
except by an excavator. I don't think. But Josh, if you could like wave a wand and look into the future 2 months, what would you want to see?
Sure. I mean, ideal scenario. Shoring up a shop space was priority number one. We were able to source a lot of new equipment, and that was not terribly hard. That's available. The thing that's not available in this county is industrial workshop space. So finding a space that's sustainable to work from, that we can continue on the path of growth that we've been on, it would be the most ideal thing. And, we're looking at a couple different options as far as, maybe buying this property and fixing it up, which I have a little bit of hesitancy about, but also, is not a bad option. Or buying a new piece of property altogether and trying to build something on it. There are some things available through the SBA with disaster relief and some other opportunities to hopefully get some financing if that is the route that we need to go. But we're looking into any and every available opportunity at this point to find a way into the future. So like I said, this has slowed us down, but it's not going to stop us. It's not, we're going to keep moving and try and get back onto that trajectory as soon as possible. And I think it's going to be doable. It's just a timing thing. It's going to be, keeping your ear to the ground, networking, having a strong community. That's something that I've been a huge benefit here where we are, is that there's a huge sense of community, of local people helping local people and keeping an eye out. And, I've got feelers out all over the county, and any little murmur of a space is going to hopefully make it my way. But that would be the ideal scenario. Get into a new shop or a shop space that is sustainable and has all the walls.
Yeah, walls are good.
Walls Sometimes. Are good.
We need somebody to come in and build a wall.
Yeah, I'd say it's going to be. I mean, it's going to be a cold winter. It's going to be a little bit of a tough winter, but
You know, that's just the way it is.
I didn't choose to do this because it was easy.
It's a good thing, you know. Open your own business, they said.
Yeah.
Be an entrepreneur, they said.
Yeah.
You know.
And it is great. It's just, it's a lot of hard work and a lot of sacrifice, but the same, you know, hard work and sacrifice that it took to get us to where we were before this storm is the same thing that's going to help us pull through and find something better in the future. Yep. So, you know, the main thing for me has just been trying to keep a positive mindset about it. And there have definitely been some periods where all of a sudden it's caught up with me and, you know, I might be a little pissed or a little depressed or, you know, not know how to feel, be a little sad because I've spent so much time curating the space over the last handful of years and it was dialed in, it was great. And in a matter of a day, a matter of hours, it was gone. Yeah. And now I'm having to change gears or change things up and do that work over again. And that's hard, you know, mentally and emotionally, but people have been so supportive. And that's really helped keep my mind in the right space and to look for the opportunity and not get hung up on what was lost,
right?
You know, to not be turned into a victim of the circumstance, but to use it as a pressing force into the future. And that's, I mean, what else are you going to do?
I mean, I've been in I have been in the situation where I have lost it all, you know, due to another situation. I mean, a totally different situation. And, you know, come out on the other side of it, I was 150% better off. But the reason being is other people. It was nothing I could do by myself. It was other people that stepped up and helped and stuff. You know, that's a huge part of it. And I think people do want to help.
Oh,
I mean,
100%.
It's been pretty obvious the amount of, even like just down the mountain, the amount of resources that have
been coming up, just trucked up by any good old boy with a truck and a trailer has been bringing it up or bringing heavy equipment and saws and cutting stuff and, you know, lending a hand. And, you know, this has been a really humbling experience for me because I'm not the type of person to ask for help. I'm pretty stubborn, you know, and I like to push through and get things done. And a lot of the time it's me doing it on my own. But coming into a circumstance like this where you just can't, it's just not possible. It's been really eye-opening how much support there really is and how, you know, generous people are and how, you know, it's given me a lot of hope and humanity to watch people come together and to support. And, you know, it's been really encouraging. And, you know, eye-opening to, when people are given the ability to help or the opportunity to help, a lot of times they will. And in sometimes unexpected ways, or, you know, sometimes it's just been the small thing, you know, a friend came by just with a bowl of chili and a hug and, you know, that was the help that I needed that day. So sometimes it's the little bits of help that, you know, keep pushing you on. On top of, you know, sometimes it's your buddy with a skid steer that drives up from Statesville to pull your power hammer out before the roof collapses on it. Shout out to Trinity. I appreciate that, but
it's those type of things that really, I mean, in your situation, I mean, walking in here, like what was the first thing, like you probably just thought this place was fine. I mean,
well, I mean, I had high hopes because, you know, I was at my house during the height of the storm. We had a bunch of trees, probably, I mean, the biggest tree on the property fell. It was like an 85-foot big giant hickory tree that fell on the property, but it, you know, the house was spared. You know, everybody was happy and healthy. You know, the rain cleared and it got really sunny that afternoon, which was really bizarre. And then we tried to get out, and I started realizing more and more how devastating the storm really was because I couldn't get to town.
You had no internet, you had no phone service.
No power. Luckily, we have a spring, so we had water, and that was something going for us. But, you know, we're driving around, and I still had pretty high hopes until we got all the way, you know, halfway here, and I keep seeing more and more stuff, and more landslides, and more trees down, more power poles laying in the creek, and wires going everywhere, and we're just meandering through them, trying to get to the space to see what state it's in. And as soon as we came around in the parking lot, it was pretty obvious what had happened, and, you know, it's a pretty sinking feeling. Realistic. I mean, it was kind of disbelief at first. Like, really? And, you know, I went inside, looked at everything, saw this, you know, but with all of my other stuff mangled in the midst of it. And I just had to take a deep breath and walk back outside. And I kind of did one of those like double over, and you lean over and you go, oh my gosh. And I just kind of sat there for a few minutes and probably disassociated a little bit. And then the adrenaline kicked in. I was like, okay, we got to fix this, you know? And we went into fixing mode pretty hardcore for the first week. And, you know, steadily things have gotten better, moving more and more in a positive direction. And, you know, but I mean, is this a bad dream? You know,
yes to everything.
It's just not something that you would expect to deal with, you know? But here we are, and we're dealing with it, and there's no way around it, and you got to deal with it. So we've done the best we can with what we've got. And, you know, the fact that we're back to making some production knives, albeit, you know, some of the simpler stuff, we're doing it. We're making knives. We've been able to keep everybody on board and paid the whole time like nothing happened, so everybody's bills can get paid, which has been a huge blessing to be able to do, because that's the last thing you want to be worried about when you're going through all of this is, am I gonna, you know, be late on my rent or my mortgage or whatever, you know? So I think all things considered, you know, we got pretty lucky on the whole scenario. Is it a good scenario? No, but you know, it's also been pretty hard to feel too sorry for myself too, being surrounded by so many other people that have had half their houses their house looks like this, you know, or I mean, they're in a remote place and they still don't have power, or, you know, there's so many things that could be worse and are worse for other people that, you know, it's hard to sit there and feel too sorry for myself, you know?
It doesn't minimize the situation.
No, I know.
But you know,
it still is bad. It's still not good. But, you know, it's just keeping it into perspective and being grateful for what you did end up with. And not letting it bog you down, you know? And just keep pressing forward. That's all I've been
I think that's the message of the day.
Stay with it. Keep pressing forward, you know? Because that's really the only option, and that really is the spirit of this area of Appalachia. You know, this is a tenacious people, and they weren't sitting around on their hands waiting for somebody to come save them. They were out there first thing before anybody else could get there, cutting the trees and fixing the roads and making sure that, you know, Betty Sue can get her medicine and whatever else, you know. And that mentality is what has made Appalachia what it is, because most of the time it's been overlooked. It doesn't get a whole lot of help or second thought.
Well, it's a hard place in general. This is not a easy place to live. It's not, especially if you look back, you know, a couple generations ago, especially.
Oh yeah.
Even today though, it's not.
It's about, I mean, there's so many remote locations that's like, if you don't know that holler exists, if you've never been there, you never met the person that lives there, you'd never know it existed. So it provide, you know, it's a unique problem to solve, to try and get supplies to all of these people, because not everybody knows where everybody is. And so you really are relying on your community, that house that's down the road that knows that you're up in that holler, to say, we better go check on them and make sure they're good. That is, you know, saving the day, saving people's lives, getting them food and power and water and, you know, warm clothes. Now we're moving into colder season. We've already had a snow, you know, this season already, which is a little earlier than normal. Usually it's about the end of October. But that cold is moving in, and it's not going to wait for us to get everything fixed.
No, it's not.
So, you know, we got to look out for each other, and but people are doing it. That's the culture of the area, is to look out. And, you know, if you have you have excess, then you give that excess to your neighbor, or, you know, spend that a couple extra hours pulling the tree off of their house. You know, it's not because you owe them anything other than they're your neighbor, and this is humanity. This is our community, and we want it to be the best that it can be. And that there's a lot of that out here on display right now.
I think that's one of the biggest things I've seen, because I spent some time up in Elk Park and Newland area up there, just because I had some contacts up there, and it's we've been reduced to the purest form of humanity there is.
Right.
Like it's created in a culture where we're so separated by phones and social media and stuff that got taken away.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden people are like, oh shoot.
All of a sudden you realize
the person they didn't really even know that lived next door to them, all of a sudden that's the only person they got.
Yeah. Right.
So,
well, it makes you realize really quickly what is important in life.
Yes.
It gets rid of all of the extra distractions that we have in modernity that, keep our minds preoccupied with things that kind of don't matter in the grand scheme of things. And, it's unfortunate that sometimes it takes a tragedy to pull out the best in us, but that really is what's been happening. And it's encouraging. I mean, we don't want to stay in a place of tragedy. It would be nice though if we could stay in the place of unity beyond it. So, there are good things coming out of it no matter what. It's, just takes some doing.
It's going to take some doing.
Yeah.
Well, Josh, you got anything else you want to say?
No, other than thanks again, y'all, I really mean it. I don't know what I would be doing if it wasn't for all of the help from everybody else and the kind words and the understanding for things being delayed. And, I couldn't really do it without all of you guys being a part of this, being part of the recovery. Just thank you so much from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of everybody that works here, on behalf of my family. It really means a lot. All
right. I think that's a good way to end it.
Yeah.
We went for 30 minutes.
Cool. Yeah,
that's
it goes.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Guys, don't forget, this will be on the website by the time you see this. A good way to support Josh. Another good way to support Josh is through the GoFundMe. Like if you want to help him right now, that's a good place to go. And because it's not over. I mean, I know with the way our culture works, in a week, things kind of people forget. Yeah. But it's a real thing up here. And we really appreciate your support and your help getting Josh through this. And I think it'll turn out to be a lot better on the other side of it. Yeah. So, I think so. Thank you guys. RidgeRunnerBlades.com, PrimitiveWoodsman.com.
Yep, right? PrimitiveWoodsman.com.
I always want to put blades on the end of it. PrimitiveWoodsman.com. And we'll catch you guys next time.
Right, take it easy.